welcome back to our Walking Dead reviews. This time it is Season 9, Episode 16, the season finale, The Storm. This is Chris, and with me, as usual, is Jason.
Hey, it's me.
It's Fat Albert.
Hey,
Hey.
hey.
Ah,
Me.
no one's head got put on a pike this week.
That's true. But we did have something that we've never seen on The Walking Dead before.
Yes, snow.
Yeah, we got to look at what zombie weather in Wisconsin would be like.
Yes, and Jason and I are both in Wisconsin, so that's why that pertains to us. But before we get to the review for that episode, there's a couple things that dropped this week that we want to talk about real quick. A couple things that dropped in the last couple days. 2 trailers. We're going to talk about this. The first one is the movie The Dead Don't Die with Adam Driver and Bill Murray. You just watched this trailer. I sent it to you yesterday, but you didn't get a chance to watch it. You just watched it now, Jason. What do you think of this?
It looks like a good, fun time. You know, I get sort of like, the kind of tongue-in-cheek approach that we got from Shaun of the Dead to this. Almost like the World's End movie made by the same guys. You know, it seems like a little bit campy, but a whole lot of fun. Like, I'm gonna enjoy it. You know, just the constant theme of, you know, like, even in the trailer, they're like, yeah, we probably won't survive this, and Adam Driver's character's constantly talking about how, like, we're all gonna die or this won't end well.
No, it looks like a lot of fun, and it's a combination I never thought. One, I never gave it any thought at all, and I guess it's because I probably didn't think it was ever going to happen. You never know what the hell Bill Murray's going to do.
Yeah,
so,
to be fair, the man's getting up in years, all right? Leave him alone.
I'm not saying anything bad. Hey, you don't have to tell me, man. I mean, he was one of my idols in the 80s, all right? Ghostbusters, I was there.
God, was the Ghostbusters really in the 80s?
Yeah, man, that was like 84 or 85.
That's so long ago.
I'm pretty sure it was 84. It was so long. You weren't even born. I was just a little kid.
I know, dude. That was 15 years before I was born.
So no, it looks good. I'm appreciating the dry humor that you're seeing in this. It's funny because you get one of these low budget movies like this, and one or two things are going to happen. They're rarely just okay. It's either great or it's like, whoa, you really missed the mark. And it looks like this has a high potential to be great. This comes out June 14th. We will be reviewing it along with pretty much every other new zombie movie that's coming out this year. Plus, we're doing about a dozen or so others. Starting next week, we'll be reviewing World War Z, the unrated cut, in anticipation for the World War Z game that's going to be coming out this month, which we will be playing here on the channel. Jason's going to have to join us a little late on that one, but he'll be joining us for that. We'll be doing that. This is going to be our first game that we'll be streaming, as well as having up on the channel for people to watch. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. The second trailer I wanted to talk about real quick, and I figured we were gonna get something after the season finale because that's just kind of par for the course from what they've been doing, and we did later on that night, and maybe around the same time. The trailer for season 5 of Fear the Walking Dead, aka Morgan and Pals, dropped. Jason, what'd you think of the season 5 trailer for Fear?
I am deeply conflicted because, well, there were certainly high points, like my boy Daniel.
That's so great.
The highlight of season 1 for me, my boy Daniel, making a return, and you know the obvious crossover with Dwight from the flagship show. You know, that's all very exciting, but I can't shake the whole Morgan and Pals happy-go-lucky feel with the, you know, we're helping people and helping shouldn't be easy, but we're still doing good things in a good happy time, you know.
Well, I call it Morgan and Pals mainly because that's what they turned the show into.
Dude, like, it fits real well, though. It's like a kid's TV show version of The Walking Dead, you know?
I call it that in mockery of the fact that they took a great show with other great leads and doing really interesting things, and they just switched so much of it around just to fit Morgan in.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's
And-
definitely the other complaint that
Yeah.
I had with last season. But like the sort of campiness, if we all stick together, guys, it'll turn out okay. And the fact that all of a sudden everybody's best friends with Morgan and they're all like hero worshiping him. I'm like, all right, that's a little weird. All right.
Season 4 was garbage. We reviewed it. We tried our best. There was a lot of things wrong, not to mention the fact that Nick and Madison died. You're going to lose Nick because Nick, the actor wants off the show fine. Madison didn't want to leave.
Yeah, that was...
I don't,
That did not leave a good taste in my mouth.
No, then plus nasty zombie lady who sticks in the same area for 2+ years where her husband died and never changes clothes once.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Yeah, that whole fucking thing. I'm conflicted too, Jason, because this trailer looks good.
Yeah, but to be fair, okay, they could have just cherry picked the best moments out of an entire season.
Of course. That's what's got me worried. I mean, I love the fact that Daniel's there. I'm okay with Dwight there. I have issues with Dwight being on Fear because he's not on the main show, and he should be. And we'll get to that with the recap of this episode. But if I'm glad to see that Dwight's still roaming around. Did you notice? And I'm not spoiling anything because it's in the trailer, but you got to look hard. Did you notice one of the main cast is going to lose a body part?
No, I didn't. Who?
Luciana loses her arm.
Really?
Yep. There's a quick scene where they're about. It looks like they're about to cut off her arm, and then there's a very brief scene where she's in the back where she's clearly missing her right arm.
Oh dang!
I had to go back and look again because I'm like, wait a second, what? And I had to go back through and say, oh, yep, there, or should I say, there it's not.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But yeah.
All I can think now is they're setting up another doctor who's gonna die.
Well, they got the nurse.
Yeah. All right. Let's see how long she lasts.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Because I mean that relationship with her and Cowboy Guy. I forgot everyone's names.
You know what I'm learning watching The Walking Dead?
What?
As a medical professional, I need to watch my ass out for some protagonists.
Oh, you're done, dude. Zombie apocalypse happens. You're done.
I'm fucking dead, man. People learn I have medical skills.
Yeah,
I'm screwed.
Yeah,
I'm screwed.
Best you can do is become the bad guy and be the governor. That's your only way that you're gonna balance that out, because if you're a doctor or you're the moral compass, you might as well just look at the roses, look at the flowers, because it's gonna happen. So and you got Nurse Lady and Cowboy Guy, and so they're like the best relationship ever in the zombie apocalypse, and so one of them's gonna die.
Oh yeah, if not die, one of them's gonna become horribly disfigured, or something's gonna happen.
But Daniel's back.
Yeah,
that's
Daniel,
so great. That's
my
so great.
man.
And if they could just bring Madison back, I'd be happy, because she clearly died, but it's like the only time they haven't actually shown a death.
Yeah,
they showed everything surrounding her, which was an inevitable death. But yeah, that would be great. But hey, Daniel, I'll take Daniel. We will not be reviewing Morgan and Pal season 5. Season 4 was so bad, dude. We had to trudge through that.
Dude, those last couple of episodes were just god awful.
That was tough. That was tough, man. That was work.
I never enjoy the feeling of dreading watching a television show. Television should be something that gets you excited.
Yeah, no, this was rough. We had and there were some good episodes.
There were. Okay, good's a strong word. There were some okay episodes.
No, man. Like our first introduction to Cowboy Guy and the whole thing with him and her, and the story at his that was really good.
Yeah, and the storm episode was good. I enjoyed that.
There was some good stuff. You got to be fair about it, but overall the season was garbage. We'll see. Maybe the first 8 episodes we'll watch that and be like, man, this is so good, we gotta start talking about this again. Do I think that's gonna happen? No. No, but maybe still, it's 16 more weeks of an hour-long zombie show. That, hey, watch it if you want, and if not, then don't. But we're gonna be over here doing all kinds of movie reviews for zombie-related stuff. Plus, we've been doing Resident Evil, we've been doing this season of Walking, we've been doing the last few seasons of The Walking Dead, and we're gonna have more coming. We're gonna have World War Z the game, and we're gonna be doing Days Gone. So lots of it coming up here. So
It'll be interesting. Days Gone in particular.
I'm gonna have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, well, the sort of the gameplay I've seen from it so far looks promising, but the fact that we haven't heard a lot about it, and
well, it's not out yet.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, even leading up to release, it's coming out relatively soon for a game.
26th.
Yeah,
why don't you just go ahead and go up against Avengers Endgame? Good idea.
Well, they're two different markets.
Yeah. It just, you can get lost in the media hype.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking about shows we want to watch.
Yep.
So we're gonna do 2 reviews this week. We got to review the episode, then we're gonna do a quick synopsis of the season, the whole seasons. But let's look at The Storm real quick. So, Jason, what was your overall impressions of this season finale?
I enjoyed it. The weird thing was, as like cliche as this is gonna sound, it gave me a very Game of Thronesy sort of feel, where we got a very satisfying wrap up to the penultimate episode, and a setup for a good follow up season. With the sort of massive danger of the Whisperer zombie army on the horizon, sort of thing, but not very clearly a cliffhanger in the way that we've necessarily traditionally seen them in the past.
I agree. And I don't know how much you check social media on this stuff. I know that
absolutely not.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't. You have no pulse on social media,
dude. I don't have a social media. I don't associate with social media. I think that it's toxic.
You have a social media. You just don't use it.
All right, listen. It's like the tree falling in a forest, right? If I have a social media and I never post anything or go on it, do I really have a social media?
You do. In fact, I know that Isaac has linked you in a couple things too. So,
God, he's a traitor.
But yeah, the general consensus that I have seen, the general consensus, and not the majority, but definitely not the only opinion, is that a lot of people were disappointed with this.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of them thought it was really slow, it was really boring, it wasn't doing anything. I mean, I get that perspective,
especially after like the excitement and death and
right, but
boom, boom.
It's definitely
last episode.
It's definitely a very different season finale from what we're used to getting from The Walking Dead overall. Whereas, no CDC exploded, no fight with the governor, no one's bashing people's heads in with bats. No one's invading a town and shooting it up, and then other communities come to. Okay, I get it, but we had 10 people's heads on a pike last week.
Yep.
What else do you want?
How do you follow that up, man?
I thought
without jumping the shark.
Right. Well, I agree, and I thought it was a really good episode. They brought us snow, which was done really well. Not great, but really well. There were definitely some moments like, yeah, that's not real snow, but we're Wisconsinites, so we know real snow versus fake snow any freaking day. So,
it was snowing today. I don't know if you know that.
Not on my end of the state, it wasn't, but
it was on my end. I walked out this morning.
April 2nd. There it is.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was good, and I thought it was a good wrap to the season. I think overall, I mean, they can't always be action packed. There was still some action. There was still some drama, but I thought that this was a good cap to the season, and I think the fact that it was even a very different kind of season finale, just kind of makes it all the more fitting for this season where. This show should not be getting, for all intents and purposes, this show should not be getting renewed for another season. And that being said, this is the best season we've had in years.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
And we'll hold all that off to the side. But so I'm using that as a comparison piece, though. I was not seeing the kingdom falling like it did, and it just started with like, oh, yeah, we're all fucked. And
Yeah, that, well, especially considering like last time you and I were talking, and you were like, "I'm so excited about the kingdom. You know, it's already gone at this point in the comics. I can't wait to see what they do with it."
right.
First scene of this episode, it's all gone.
Yeah,
like,
well,
it's dilapidated.
And to elaborate, the kingdom's not gone in the comics. It's just it has become irrelevant. The story they haven't done a story with the kingdom in a couple years really, but yeah, now it is gone.
Yeah,
It's gone in this world, in this Walking Dead world. This brings up an interesting question. I always wonder, why doesn't anyone ever go back? Because even Judah says, maybe you can go back to the kingdom someday. Why doesn't I would love it if somebody went back to the prison. Just check it out.
yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, anybody who remembers the prison probably still has traumatic memories associated with that place, right? Especially in a Walking Dead world, PTSD has to be like a constant issue with these people.
Right.
And going back to some place where you have strong emotional memories associated with people you knew and possibly cared about dying,
I guess.
That's not going to work out well.
I mean, the idea of the prison was a great idea. It's a great place to live. Had they not gotten into a conflict with other people.
Yeah, it would have worked out well, but that doesn't make for good television.
That'd be hilarious though if like Daryl went back, and here it is like 8 years later he goes back, and then there's like the place is great. It's thrived. They've built on it. There's like a community of thousands of people that with the prison in the center. He shows up, everyone's all happy. He's like, civilization's here, and he's just like, motherfuckers, we had this idea 8 years ago, and y'all are pissing in my punch bowl now. I'm just kidding. I would like to see it though. I would like them to revisit the prison, Herschel's farm.
Mm-hmm.
See what's happened to these places all these years later. I think that'd be great. So that kind of obviously saying, hey, maybe you can go back to the kingdom someday. That kind of reminds me of that. I would love to see something like that. So let's talk about it. The snow episode did not disappoint. We'd been wanting snow for years, and we got it. I was worried from what little bits I had seen previews of the episode that they weren't going to do zombies right, but they did. And the fact that this is dead, rotten meat, and the fact that it froze like it did, I loved it. That's what happens kind of in the comics when they show walkers in wintertime. They get a lot slower. They end up freezing up. I thought that was great. Daryl's about to shoot one in the head, and then he just decides to bash it with the blunt of the crossbow.
Yeah,
It's interesting because it's such a harsh time to live, but it's the one time when the walkers are least of a threat.
Yeah, absolutely. You sort of trade out your dangers there for, you trade out walkers for more environmental sort of issues, which makes you think that like an isolated civilization, sort of like up in Alaska where it's constantly freezing most of the year, or like
the vast majority of the time.
Yeah, or like the Upper Peninsula of even where we live. You go up to the UP, there's not even that many people out there to turn in the first place, and if they're all slow as shit, all you need is a good generator or a solar panel,
which most of these people will have already had.
Yeah, and that right there, you're set up, right? That is sustainable living right there.
There are people in Alaska 10 years into this zombie apocalypse who think the world is just fine. They just can't get on the internet.
Yep.
I keep trying to play online on Fortnite, but it won't work.
Dude, I would love for there to just be a one-off episode of like a bunch of people in like Juneau, Alaska, that all of a sudden suddenly discovered zombies. Like they finally like make the trek out to Canada somewhere, and they hit civilization. They're like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, that would be funny. That'd be funny. We're supposed to get stuff like that. Remember, they're talking about miniseries and stuff like that, and all that stuff, one shots and all that stuff. So
Dude,
hopefully we will.
that would have been the greatest April Fool's episode of all time.
Hopefully someday.
Yeah.
What did you think about Lydia almost letting a walker bite her?
That was interesting. That was a very interesting take, because like that's a perfectly viable option of suicide in this world, you know.
Yeah, but what do you think about her trying to do that? I mean, I can understand her feelings of guilt, albeit misplaced. I can understand why somebody would feel guilty about everything that happened, all the people that had died.
Oh yeah.
But it's a little disappointing to me that she does not come to the conclusion that instead of killing yourself because of this, you need to honor the fact that all these people have died, because basically well, it's not your fault. They died because they resisted Alpha and decided to do the right thing, which was to give you asylum.
Yeah.
And to honor that instead of be like, all right, well, time for me to die too.
To be fair, you know, how much of that is also her upbringing, right? Resisting Mama, Alpha, you know, was probably, you know, like, I can't imagine she really pulled this before. Otherwise, we would have probably not met Lydia. You know, Alpha doesn't take resistance very well, even if it's family. So I have to imagine that this is sort of a new concept to her. And coming from a society that sort of worships death the way that the Whisperers do, I can understand her making that conclusion, right? Especially considering that Alpha's like, you fuck up, you die. That's just how things are run out there. So in her mind, the two probably are equated.
Dude, how awesome is Melissa McBride, though, as Carol?
Oh, yeah. Amazing. All right, so like I don't know how much you care about this, but the fact that she's just like, nope, all right, I'm done. Here's your ring, and just like gives it back to Ezekiel.
Dude, that's rough.
Dude, that's so rough. You just lost his son. Now he lost his wife
and his whole community. Well,
yeah.
their location.
Yeah,
he's definitely got kicked in the nuts.
Dude.
And then somebody came in and decided to chop him off.
Yeah,
that's rough. Now, do you think he's going to end up leading the Hilltop?
No.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that fits right.
No. Are you kidding me? I don't think he's ever leading anything again.
Oh, wow. You think it's all that?
Yeah. Okay. I think, you know, things go downhill from here, at least for the next season.
I can definitely see them taking Ezekiel down a very dark and bad path to the point where it could maybe even lead to his death.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's where this is going.
I think that would be a damn shame, though. You know, I think he would have gotten better and more mileage putting his head on a pike, like what happened in the comics with Ezekiel.
But I mean, that sort of dark path, you know, that you were talking about. There's an opportunity to tell a lot of interesting stories, I think, with that. You know.
I can definitely see them going a route of, say, hey, let's see what happens when we take one of these community leaders' communities away, except for they don't die with it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, especially given the kind of person that he is to start with, you know.
Yeah, that's interesting. He's had to wear the whole king thing for about 10 years now in this world. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see how his people react at this point. You know, if any of them do blame him for what happened. You got to remember, Henry was supposed to go to the Hilltop and learn blacksmithing, and then take those skills and bring them back to help the kingdom with the issues they were having with their building, so to speak.
Yeah, with their infrastructure.
Which at the same time is funny, because you think that, you know, considering Henry died, because we have a couple months that pass between the last episode and this one, that they could have just sent somebody from Hilltop over who already knew blacksmithing.
Yeah, but I imagine, you know, there was a lot more going on there.
Yeah,
I have to imagine that, you know,
there was absolutely no resolve as far as who's the leader of the Hilltop now.
Yeah, and there was absolutely like no resolve over, you know, like, people from almost every community died in that sort of piking. So I have to imagine that there was just a universal pullback where everybody's like, all right, we're pulling back. We're protecting our borders. Right? Like,
I could see that being a knee jerk reaction, but considering the whole thing that happened with Michonne and how the fact she had done that for years and now she's not, I
yeah.
don't think they'll go that route.
No. I meant like initially to sort of explain the infrastructure thing. I could see that being a knee-jerk reaction that they did, or that they would do.
Mm-hmm.
Not long-term, no. I don't think that works to advance the story. So, what do you think? Do you think we're going, like, all-out Whispers war?
You can't ask me that, sir, because again, I've got the crystal ball. So, yes.
So, yes.
Yes.
I suspected so, given the whole zombie army thing. By the way, you and I had sort of talked zombie movies a couple of weeks back,
Yes.
and you had shown me some trailers. That moment where the zombies kind of like rise up out of the snowdrifts felt very Dead Snow to me.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And part of what I was going to talk about with Lydia and Carol earlier was the fact that the way that Lydia was going to try to kill herself, suicide by zombie. That's how Carol takes herself out in the comics.
Really?
Yeah, years and years and years ago. It was an interesting nod, and she's the one that finds her. Yeah, she dies before the prison falls. That's how early on Carol dies. But kind of an interesting nod there. And there was just a hint of self-reflection in Carol's face when she saw her. Not enough to where you're supposed to relate it to the character, but enough to where you can relate it to, oh, that's okay, because that's how she died in the comic. So,
Gotcha.
yeah. So something I noticed, and let's see if you can help me out, because help confirm this with me. I think, besides Ezekiel and the new group that got introduced in this season, Magna and all the others,
Mhm.
every major character I think is over at Alexandria now.
Daryl, Carol, Michonne,
Judith,
Negan.
Negan, Eugene,
Yeah.
Rosita, Gabriel, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think they're all over at Alexandria now. And I'm like, is that right? Can you think of any besides Ezekiel and that new group?
Yeah.
We've been introduced to a couple smaller characters over the last couple seasons that are over at the Hilltop, but yeah, now I have to think that's intentional. And if it is, I got to be honest with you, I fucking love it.
Oh yeah.
Yes, please put them all back
Yep.
for the love of God. Angela Kang, the new showrunner, in this season has done a really good job of dealing with the different communities.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like the fact that if this is in fact the case and how they're going to do it, that everybody's in the same area.
Yeah. Speaking of Negan, what did you think of his little escapade to go find Judith and Dog?
I thought that they were going to have to start planting the seeds to turning people around on Negan. The thing is that in reality, it should never happen.
It should never happen.
It should never happen.
No. Just because it. You were talking about in the show. I thought you were talking about fans of the show.
No. People want to either want to love Negan or they want to love to hate him.
Yeah.
I love to hate him.
Oh, dude, I love him as the villain, and I love him as whatever he's turning into now.
Right. I can't conceive a realistic scenario where Negan's okay with the communities. I mean, he took them into a war. He took countless things from them. Who knows all the people he killed before we even saw Hilltop and in Kingdom, Oceanside, for God's sakes.
Oh yeah.
I mean, not to mention what he did to Alexandria leading up to the war. I mean, frickin' Glenn and Abraham.
Yep.
Fucking Glenn and Abraham. I mean, it can never be okay.
No.
It can never be okay. And I'm sorry. And those of you who listen to this, if you really like Negan, I like Negan too. That's part of why I like the character. It can never be okay. It can't. You can't convince me on how Negan ends up becoming a member of these communities.
I don't think he'll ever be a member, but he might be an outsider,
Well, and I know what happens to him after this is all said and done. I know what happens to Negan afterwards, and I'm not going to say. But it just and the impact of Glenn dying was a lot more impactful in the show than it was in the comics. Mm-hmm. This had real effects. You can point at that being the single biggest reason when the show really started declining. I mean, there was real impact, besides story impact. It could just never be okay. And that has no hate towards Negan. I love Negan. Jeffrey Dean Morgan playing Negan. He's not quite as good as comic book Negan, but he's still a lot of fucking fun. And I really enjoy him. But, I'm sorry, you're in that corner with him. You put Negan in this corner as far as the story goes. It can't be all right. And if they're gonna lose me, it'll probably be if they try to make it okay. And I don't like the fact that at the end he was kind of sitting there or just laying there on the bed without chains on. He's got to have some chains on.
Oh yeah,
I get it. He's injured, but he's a prisoner. I wasn't a big fan of the fact that Rosita interacted with him the way that she did. She needed to smack him. She just needed to smack him. At any point during that conversation, she could have just smacked him in the face once, and no one would ever flinch as to why she did that.
Yeah.
That being said, his interaction with Father Not the Father.
Oh yeah.
in Dr. Baby Daddy. was awesome.
That was hilarious.
So no, it was great to see Negan being Negan, but hey, all right, do not go down the road of trying to convince me that Negan becomes a respectable part of these communities. It cannot happen.
No, I don't. He should never become a respectful part of these communities.
Right.
A necessary evil, maybe. Just sort of. Yeah, because that's.
And don't forget, Maggie's coming back next season.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a whole thing.
Yeah, don't even talk about the shitstorm if he actually was not in his cage. That would happen because the only reason she's okay with him being alive is because she saw that he was worse off being alive.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, no, but that whole thing was cool. Judith is the one thing that he truly cares about more than anything, and I get that, and that was fine. And helping with Dog, and he can turn himself around, and he can be a better person. I still don't buy that. We talked about that earlier in the season, where you're like, he can make a no, he can't. Negan is the biggest shit fuck ever. He just is. So, which is fine. That's part of Negan.
Yeah, all right, but that's comic book Negan, right?
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, to be fair, they've done crazier things with the show than alter one particular character's path, regardless of how big or small they were in the story. Right?
No, Negan goes to hell no matter what.
Well, yeah, but
who knows the countless times the Saviors did that to communities? You gotta remember, our introduction to really what the Saviors was them throwing a guy off a bridge and hanging him.
Yes, I do remember that.
And that was because they had decimated the community so badly it was worthless to them at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... no, they did make mention, talking about Maggie, they did make mention they tried to reach out to her again and they hadn't heard back. By the way, did they establish a post office and no one ever knew about it?
I have no idea.
That's just kind of weird. It's like, yeah, we sent another letter. No, you say, we sent another messenger out.
Yeah.
You didn't send out another letter.
Dude,
well, you did, but let's specify that. There's no post office.
I just have to hope that there's we finally discovered that they've established carrier pigeons the entire time.
Yeah. Well, they do have a radio going, and I suppose that's a good time to go to that part.
Yeah.
We heard her voice on the radio.
Yeah. Okay, now this is just me, but that sounded like a girl's voice to me, a female.
That was clearly a female's voice. If you watch that part of the show with subtitles turned on, you can actually, because you can't really make it out, but there are subtitles. It is a female's voice. It does say female's voice. What they say is absolutely inconsequential. They're basically like reaching out, is anybody out there? Blah blah blah. They don't really say anything of importance. The important part is the fact that someone was trying to contact either Judith or Ezekiel, hearing their conversation, or at least parts of their conversation that they had just had. I had mentioned a few episodes back that this is around the time that there's a contact with someone from the radio. In the comics, it is Eugene that does it. It becomes a thing that he does with the whole radio, where he's on it all the time. Yeah. So, what do you think of that, Jason? Because my opinion is going to obviously differ.
Yeah. I don't know who it is. I have no idea, but I hope they have a lot of guns, and they come and they help kick some Whisper butt. Right?
Okay. So you think that this is going to be something that will lead to help for them with the Whispers?
Either that, or it's the people from the chopper that took Rick.
Okay.
Or something related to the chopper, right? Because I want answers about that chopper, damn it.
Yeah, they're definitely coming. I mean, we're getting a movie. We're getting 3 of them, actually. So, all right. So I'm going to get a little spoilery here. I try to avoid this stuff, but I'm going to get a little spoilery from stuff from the comics.
So you've been warned, folks. All right.
And you've been warned too, Jason, because this could be bad. This could be bad. I could be spoiling something. The communications between Eugene and a female that he starts having over the radio ends up with them connecting with a community called the Commonwealth. Have I ever talked about this before, Jason?
Not that I can recall up the top of my head. But if it's anything like the Commonwealth from Fallout 4, they might be fucked.
No, I don't know. I don't know what that is. Because you and I, we have conversations outside of the show. So the Commonwealth is it's a huge community. It's 50,000 plus people.
Yep.
They have rebuilt society as best as you probably could in this scenario. I don't want them to do the storyline. I want them to go in a different direction, and I want them to connect it. I would prefer that they connect it with people who knows what happened with Jadis and Heath and Rick. And have that all interconnect. I don't want them to do the storyline with the Commonwealth, which isn't wrapped up right now either. But there's so many key people missing at this point, especially 2 key elements of Rick and Dwight. These are critical characters. And I don't... Michonne's still around, but she's leaving too, and she's a critical character as well. I don't see how they could pull this off. And I think they would just be doing injustice to themselves by just doing placeholders. Okay, it's like they did this season where Henry took Carl's place, which was fine for what that was. They can't pull that off with this storyline. I think this is the point where I want them to really go in a different direction. And I'm not going to say much more than what I did in case they do, because if they do decide to follow this, I've already ruined too much. I mean, to know that there's a community like that's that huge.
Yeah,
it's not speculation. It's one exists in the comics. It's 50,000 plus people. I mean, that's a lot.
So, do they actually meet up at this place? Do they go there in the comics?
Yeah, we've been seeing it for I think about over a year now.
That's fascinating.
But I don't want them to go. Go a route where they come up. Where they meet up with a large community. Don't make it the Commonwealth. Don't follow some of the elements from the story. Make it something very different. Follow the whole thing with the A's and the B's and Jadis and Rick, and do what you got to do with that. But don't follow this storyline. I think this is an area where they've really been going in their own direction with the show, and I think this is where they really need to. You're not going to be able to tell the story right. You're missing too many pieces. It's just that simple. The fact that Rick and Dwight aren't a part of this, they're key characters in this storyline. I do not see how they could pull this off without either weakening the overall story or weakening and changing characters to fit. I think they need to go in their own direction, and I hope they do.
Yeah.
Okay. So, real quick, because I'm looking at a list of characters, I want to go through this real quick. Characters that we lost this season. There were a lot.
Yeah.
All right. So, Henry,
Mm-hmm.
Enid,
Yep.
Tara,
Yep.
Jesus.
Yep.
Let's see. Gregory. Lost Gregory.
Uh-huh.
Rick, of course.
Yep.
Jadis. Maggie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
That's
that is a huge body count, especially considering some of the freaking names that were up there.
Yeah. Alright, I'm checking to see if there's any others here. I think that's about it for the big names.
I still can't believe they killed Jesus knowing how many other major characters were going out. Like
he asked to leave if they weren't going to use him right, he said, which is really kind of a shame because they were to the point where they probably would have started using him right. Aaron's arm.
Oh yeah, Aaron's arm.
We lost Aaron's arm.
We did indeed. And then subsequently lost the lady that amputated Aaron's arm.
Yup, wasting his arm.
His arm died for nothing.
Can I say, look, the snowball fight at the end of the episode I really enjoyed.
Uh-huh.
But I literally laughed out loud when I saw Aaron with his one hand making the most pitiful fucking snowball I'd ever seen in my life. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And throwing that pitiful fucking snowball because he can't make one.
Oh, he's got the stump arm. Okay.
And I feel bad that I'm laughing, but it was hilarious.
Oh my god.
Maybe that's a Wisconsin thing too. I don't know. But he just like chucked this. He just like chucked a bit of snow. Essentially, is what he did.
Yeah, you like scooped it. Yeah. Oh my god.
Every time I think about it in my head, I laugh. Oh, I'm a horrible person. But it's not like he's a real amputee. So am I a horrible person? Would I have laughed if he was a real amputee? Probably not. Or maybe I would have. Or maybe I would have gone and made him a snowball. I was like, here, use this.
He would have shoved that snowball in your face.
Maybe I would have done all three. I don't know.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else about the episode that we need to touch on?
Nothing that hits me. We talked about Alpha and her little zombie army.
Yeah, they went south.
Yeah, and her weird thing about getting smacked by Beta.
Maybe we should see her at Herschel's farm.
Oh, dude, there you go.
That'd be kind of funny.
Yeah. I would love to see, I want to see, somebody retracing all of the steps, just like somebody else, just for an episode.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else wakes up from a coma, in
10
the way
years
Rick,
later?
I don't know. Either that or, it's like somebody who's been hunting Rick for some reason and just retracing all of the steps of everywhere they went and just seeing the fucking path of destruction.
Speaking of which, that was a really cool imagery in the episode where they're obviously going down the road and you see the footsteps from where a bunch of walkers had just gone through.
Uh-huh.
That was cool imagery. All right, let's rate the episode, Jason.
Okay.
1 out of 10 frozen walkers. Or, I'm sorry, 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5 frozen walkers.
You sure you don't want to make it 1 out of 5 one-handed snowballs?
Let's do that. 1 out of 5 pitiful fucking one-handed snowballs.
All right. I'm going to go with a 4. 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm close. I'm going to go 4.5. I really enjoyed this. And maybe I'm overcompensating a little bit because so many people thought it was a bad finale. That could be the case. I don't think so. I really enjoyed this episode. A lot of good character building. They really. I appreciate the fact that they took a different route with things, and I think it paid off.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I thought it was his own episode too, and they ended a lot of things and they started some new ones, and I thought it was really interesting. I had 10 character deaths last week. I don't need a lot. I don't need a lot this week. I just need you to finish it off well, and I think they did it.
Yeah.
All right. So before we go, and I know we're real long here, we're like 45 minutes, dude. It's crazy. Let's talk about the season overall, and we'll rate the overall season as we do around here. This is a crazy ass season.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
You know, a lot of people were predicting the death of this show from this season. You know, I made mention of earlier. I think this is one of the best seasons in years.
Yeah, me too.
You know, we had the whole situation with Rick. There, so much happened in this season, and when you even just compare it to season 8 and how little happened in season 8 in comparison to everything that happened this season,
Yeah, it's night and day.
it really is. Angela Kang is doing a great job as the showrunner. In a season where you lost my favorite character, I'm still coming away like, man, I really enjoyed this show. I do not think that he could have done a better job breathing new life into it and making it really interesting. And I don't agree with everything that they've done, but yeah, you know, I think they needed lightning to strike, and I think they got it to strike.
Yeah, I would agree with that without a doubt. Especially considering we lost some of my favorite characters this season too. We lost Carl.
Yeah. Well, that was last season.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was last season.
Yeah.
You know, we lost
Jesus.
Rick. Yeah, Jesus was one of my favorites. Just everybody, man. Like
Aaron's
these
arm.
last 2 seasons, we've lost so many of the you know, just this original group of characters, and we're losing so many more. It's crazy to think, you know, that like even after all that, you know, because I'll be honest, I did not have high hopes learning of all the major characters we were losing this season. I thought for sure it was going to be the last legs for this show, just because, you know, the amount of time and effort we've spent investing into these characters, taking them out just removes investment from the show. But that absolutely has not been the impression that I walked away with at the end of this.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. You know, we got a bunch of new characters too. Obviously, Alpha and Beta, Lydia, or the Magna and Yamaka or whatever it is. Luke, Connie's sister. I don't remember her sister's name. You know, and they're all good for the most part.
Yeah.
Kelly is her name. But yeah, you know, they shifted a lot of things around, and it all made for the most part made a lot of sense. And you know, we know we've got some exciting stuff coming up. Bravo to the production and staff of The Walking Dead. You know, they had a mountain to climb, and they climbed it this season. You know, I don't really have much more to say about it. I mean, if you're listening to these reviews, then you watch the show, you know. Yeah.
Yup.
Okay. There's Jason's input on it. Let's rate the season, Jason. 1 out of 5. Let's see. 1 out of 5 what? 1 out of 5 pitiful one-handed snowballs.
Yeah.
1
out of 5 mysterious choppers.
One mysterious choppers? No.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I was gonna go 1 out of 5 zombie skins.
1 out of 5 heads
masks.
on a pike.
1 out of 5 heads on a pike. Let's do that. 1 out of 5 heads on a pike. What do you got?
I'm gonna go with 4 heads on a pike.
Okay. I'm with you there. 4. I'm gonna give it a 4. This is really good. You reinvigorated for us. Like, we came into this season like, well, we'll do the first half and we'll go from there. And I don't think there's any question that we'll be back for season 10.
Yeah.
It was really good. I'm looking forward to see what they do. We're gonna get a lot of interesting stuff. I mean, the first Rick Walking Dead movies gonna start getting promotional material sometime in the next year. So, you know, we'll have that revigorating things. You know, there's the whole storyline with who's on the other end of that radio. What's going on with Negan? What's gonna happen when Maggie comes back? You know, there's so much to look forward to.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
All right, guys, what do you think? Leave a comment below. What did you think of the episode? What did you think of the season? What did they get right? What did they get wrong? Well, we want to know what you think. You know, let's keep the conversation going, and comment below. But Jason, you got anything else for us?
Yeah, at the end of the day, whether you're fighting walkers or, just looking for a nice change of pace, nothing beats a bit of a snow day.
Ah, dork. Oh, all right, guys, that is gonna do it for us. So, like I said, we will be back with some Let's Play with some zombie games, World War Z, Days Gone. We're gonna continue coming through here with some reviews for some zombie movies. We got a great lineup that we're gonna do. Just to drop a couple of them: Dead Snow, 28 Days Later, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. Just to name a handful of the ones we're gonna do. World War Z, we're gonna be doing the unrated cut for that in anticipation for the game that's coming out soon. So give us a sub, give us a like, and stick around for more zombie stuff from us. But that is gonna do it. Last words, Jason, besides the snow day comment.
Yeah, stay safe out there and don't forget to swing from the hip.
All right, guys, that is gonna do it for us. So thank you very much, and we will hear back from you soon, or you'll hear back from us soon. So see you later.
Peace.
Hey people, thank you for tuning into this episode and taking a listen. If you like our content, if you like what you're listening to, is there anything to go over, hey, please, we would not only love to hear more from you, but it's great if you could throw some support. You can subscribe right below. Also, you can toss us a line anytime. That's ksongmedia@gmail.com. Of course, you can tune in for our channel anytime for movie reviews, game reviews, a lot of random wacky stuff. Yeah, who knows what you'll hear. And of course, our episode each week where we're bringing the nerdiest things we can find, dig up, and maybe not find. Maybe the stuff that just drops in our laps. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We hope to hear from you again later. Take care.